Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin George, and welcome to my week 3 discussion board entry. Today, I will uh, Luther Gulick's theory of organization, Robert Merton's bureaucratic structure and personality, Paul Appleby, um, government is different. I would like to first discuss Luther Gulick and his contribution to public administration. He was mostly his biggest contribution was POSD Corp. So the acronym stands for Planning, Organizing, Staffing, Directing, Coordinating, Reporting, and Budgeting. He did also come up with the division of work, um, coordination of work. One of his biggest contributions that his main interest was in government, how to make it work better and be more responsive to the people, to people. He was also interested in how professionals operate and how it translates into policy and how to put that policy into action. One of his biggest things was also like how can you take the president away from the center of the organizational chart. So basically, like you're creating a council of advisors to take pressure off the president. So I would say like I'm going to reference page 81, fourth paragraph, when it's talking about like coordination of work. So like who's the work accomplished by, who's it coordinated by as for like organization and like the dominance of the idea. So basically like the worker having his own accord and being able to assist with that task being fit. Um, I really thought that this organizational chart kind of explained that the process a little bit, like as far as like you have a CEO, then you have all the delegating of the many contributions. Have your marketing, your sales, and your services. I was kind of thinking that this is what Luther Gulick meant as far as like being able to not have the president have to have all these responsibilities, but being able to delegate it to others, people who are professionals and and their right to as well. Next, I would like to discuss Robert Merton and his bureaucratic structure. In the book, it's called Bureaucratic Structure and Personality. So he broke these down into um, four, five different categories. So, like one being authority, formality, bureaucratization, dysfunction, and structural sources. In regards to authority, he did state, the power or control derives from acknowledged status. But then he also did discuss like the dysfunction of bureaucracy. So basically, like the conformity to rules and adherence to rules, and how sometimes these rules they are conformed only as a means that can become an end to itself. So basically, like it just has instrumental value. Like what's being said is not what he's saying is like what's being said is not really being it's not they're not taking heed of it. It's just something that they're that the worker is just doing. And then I also when it comes to structural sources, I did take some information from page 100, page 2, where he discussed like conformity. So structural sources um, and its conformity. So the bureaucratic official, what he states is his life is planned, like his as far as like how he's covered in career, as far as like his promotion, pensions, incremental salaries, and things of that nature. So this person is designed to have things provided for him as far as his incentives, but his incentives are pretty much predestined as long as he completes his disciplined action. So it's basically it's conformity. So as far as like how this coincides with today's work, I was kind of taking it from a standpoint from like my employer. So in my employer, you get hired, you work for a certain amount of time, you pass your probationary period, you develop relationships, you interview, and then you get promoted. then with those promotions, then you get more vacation time, vacation hours, opportunities to do different meetings, go out of state, and things of that nature. And but in the same sense, you do have to kind of conform and watch what you say is from a standpoint um, of how you're looked at by your subordinates or people that you manage. And so I do think like what he's stating in regards to like structural sources and of overconformity do relate to today's business model, just from my standpoint and from the current company that I do work with. And lastly, I'd like to discuss Paul Appleby in his article on government is different. In the second paragraph, in the analysis is different on paragraph two. He did make a statement there stating just because a lawyer is great at being a lawyer does not mean he will be great at being a judge. So what I kind of took from that was when it comes to government, like everyone in policy has their specific or expertise or something that they're great at. Um, and so that's why I took the picture of Charles Barkley playing basketball and then him playing golf. So basically, like his greatness at basketball did not translate to him being great in and golf. So just hence the sticking to your specific expertise and what you're good at. He did make a comment too, which I thought was kind of stuck with me. A very simple comment, but it stuck with me where he stated, "Government is different because government is politics." Um, Now, in regards to his article and how it relates to um, the workforce. I think this is true when you break down different subordinates. And so, like in my field, you have your worker, right? And then you have your supervisor, then you have your regional manager, right? So I feel like, the worker is the one who is doing that brunt work, making those meetings, and then the supervisor's checking in, and then the regional manager is checking in with the supervisor to ensure that the worker is doing his job. So then everybody has their specific expertise. And what they're good at. So, in a nutshell, I mean that's kind of what I got out of Paul Appleby when he was stating in regards to um, everyone's level of expertise. All right, so thank you everyone for listening to my discussion board. I'll see everyone next week. Bye bye.